Welcome to TRL Radio with your hosts, Eric and Michelle Hall.
Your average Joe experts in simplified health. Welcome to TRL Radio. We are your hosts, health and weight loss experts, Eric and Michelle Hall, here with our 20th episode.
Wow.
Yeah, episode 20 is this one right here.
That's amazing. And look at you. You showed up in your fancy AFC Richmond jacket today. Very nice.
Let's go, Richmond. Yeah. As of the recording of this, not the release, but as the recording of this, just watched the trailer to Ted Lasso Season 4. We are huge Ted Lasso fans. Maybe my favorite show ever on TV. Yeah. Like,
I know we've been watching the old episodes, and I'm like, man, there's not a bad character in here. Every character is amazing.
The Christmas one we watched the other day, just because it happened to be on, and I was like, I don't really want winter, but I kind of feel like Christmas right now.
It's a magic show.
Yeah, Ted Lasso, Jason Sudeikis. If you're watching, shout out to them. It's just amazing.
Character development is just spot on in that
Talk
show.
about it for forever.
And as much as we do love talking about Ted Lasso, we have a topic we want to talk about today too. And that topic is strength training.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe you heard me say that and you're like, okay, so we're going to skip this episode. Like, this one's not for me. Like, I really don't care to, get big and bulky in the gym and be like, gym bro, yeah, Yeah, well, hopefully after this episode, if you do stay tuned, we'll change your mind on that, right? Like, we get it. That's the picture everyone has in their mind when you hear strength training is like, oh yeah, let's get yoked. But that's not necessarily what it is. So,
yeah, I mean, in our health journey, that's what we started off thinking.
Yeah.
Like, so another reference here, Back to the Future. If we hop in our DeLorean, Autumn and I talked about the DeLorean the other day with the Lego episode. I'm pointing to Autumn because she's our audio technician back there.
Hey, Autumn.
But yeah, hop in our DeLorean and go back to, Eric and Michelle, pre-weight loss, pre-health transformation. And we weren't completely clueless. We knew a few things here or there about things, but we thought the same thing about strength training. And as a 330-pound, for being 330, I was relatively coordinated and athletic, but I was very uncomfortable with my skin. Knew I was a big person. Did not want to look dumb. I was not going to a gym to lift weights with people who are ripped in great shape, knew how to use the equipment. I would be the one that you'd see the failed videos of someone using the equipment incorrectly and someone who actually does know recording me and being like, what is this guy doing, right?
Right. No one wants to be that guy.
Yeah, I don't want to be that guy. So we felt the same way, right?
Absolutely.
So we just joined Center.
Yeah, we joined Center, and as we did the workouts, we just did what was on the schedule, and we're like, okay, this is what we'll do. And they were awkward still. Very modified. Every modification of a modification was kind of where we started.
Yep, that's why I was like, especially with the breaks, it would be like, all right, we're going to do this for 30 seconds. And I'd be like, modified, 15 seconds, be like, I'm out. I got to stop for a minute.
You're like, I'm just going to take another 10-second break as the next round starts. I'll start at, the 40-second mark or whatever. Yeah, absolutely. But baby steps, right? We took steps. We were doing the workouts. Because everyone starts somewhere.
Yep.
Everyone has a starting point, and we get it. Don't think that somehow you're lower on the totem pole because you think, oh, I'm starting with, walking in place. Guess what? Walking in place is still walking. It's still movement, and that's amazing.
What, I know when we were talking through this, what kind of, we didn't really even have dumbbells, or we did, but what were the weights on them? Do you remember?
I think we probably went to Target. I think we actually still have these weights. I think we got 5-pound weights for me and 8-pound weights for you.
Yeah.
And we got 2 yoga mats.
Yeah.
And all total, we were in for less than $50. And we're like, okay, we have one set of weights and we've got mats so that, at the time, I think we had carpeting. We're like, no one wants to get all sweaty and work out on a carpet because that's gross. So we had our yoga mats and our weights, and that's where we started. That was it.
That was it. And I wish, and people have asked before, we didn't take any video of that because,
no one wants to see that. I don't want to see that. But
although now I kind of do.
Right.
I wonder, the progression to see that. We didn't, whatever. But yeah, everyone starts somewhere. And The point to all this is that, and as we get through this whole episode, hopefully you see that there is no one right way to strength train. The gym is not the right way to do it. It's not a wrong way, but it's not the right way. But there is one wrong way to strength train. Not to be cheesy, but that's just not to do it. The one wrong way to do it is to avoid it.
Absolutely.
And hopefully as we go through this, you learn that a little bit more.
100%. So with all that being said, what is strength training?
Right.
Because maybe you have this idea of it and it might not even be correct. Explain to us, Eric, what is strength training?
So I'll just read this here. So this is a incredibly simple definition, but honestly goes to show just how broad of a category strength training is. So strength training, also known as resistance training. So if you hear that phrase, resistance training, strength training, interchangeable, is a category of physical exercises that uses external resistance to induce muscular contraction. So what does that mean? Not that there's a whole lot of crazy words in there, but what does it mean? Really, it's any kind of resistance on your body that makes you use your muscle. Muscle contraction is just you using muscle and any kind of resistance to you using that. So super easy example, especially if you're watching on Spotify or if you're watching on YouTube. If you have a dumbbell that you're trying to curl, your body is trying to, and we'll just use your right arm. Your right arm is trying to take the dumbbell from here to here. That's what your body's trying to do. The dumbbell is the resistance that's making your muscle contract to do that.
Right, because naturally, if you're just holding a dumbbell in your hand with your arm outstretched downwards, it's going to stay there.
Right.
Until you contract your muscle to bring it up.
Right.
So that dumbbell is creating the resistance because the dumbbell wants to make your hand go down.
Right.
Your muscle's contracting to bring it upwards.
Yeah, even at a very simple way, just even without weights, gravity is the resistance, right?
Right.
Now, not much. And if you're looking to, get massive biceps by trying to do air curls, probably not going to happen. We'll get into that. But that's literally all strength training is. And that's just one example, right? If you're pushing against a wall that's not moving, even though something's not moving, you're using your muscles against a stationary thing. Anytime you're using your muscles, it is strength training. And specifically when it's like a organized, specific thing that you're trying to do, right? So you can't be like, oh, hey, like I walk upstairs for, to go to my bedroom or, to go to work. I'm like, yes, but that's not really an organized strength training, right? Usually it's like organized exercise around that, right? So that's what it is. Super, super basic. Like, and as you can see, it's way more than just going to the gym, and we'll get into that a little bit more.
Absolutely. So so you're contracting your muscles. So what is the actual science behind it? Like how does doing this movement then build bigger muscles, right? And
Magic.
It seems like it should just be obvious. Well, the more, you lift heavy things and your muscles get bigger. But how? Like how and why?
Yeah. Super good question. I was just joking. I said magic, but there's this phrase that's called super compensation. Again, I sometimes feel like the health world specifically, and not that super compensation is overly complicated, but we pick these weird words and phrases to talk about things, I think purposely to confuse people. But anyhow, so super compensation. Basically, when you use your muscles, so we'll keep going with that curl, right? When you do a curl with weight, you actually are putting microscopic tears in the muscle fibers.
It actually sounds terrible.
Right.
It sounds like it's a bad thing.
Right. And this
I'm ripping my muscles.
Right. Which would kind of explain why it hurts, right? Why it doesn't tickle. You've never seen someone doing curls and just start
giggling
and laughing because although Autumn and I have done it before, and for whatever reason it kind of
usually it's because as you're working out, someone farts or something.
That's
not,
the fart. Yeah.
It's not the muscle tearing that's making you giggle.
Yeah, guilty. I've guilty of that before. But so anyhow, so you have these microscopic microscopic tears in the muscle fibers. So like you just mentioned, it's actual muscle damage, which is why it kind of hurts a little bit. That happens. And then you rest and recover. Now, our bodies are the more I know for both of us that we learn about health in our bodies, the more I'm just like blown away about the intelligence that's built into our bodies.
Right.
But our arm then says, hey, like this right here was hard. Let's make it easier for you next time. So when it recovers, it's this super compensation. It recovers to stronger than it was before. So that way, next time, that curl is easier. That's really all it is. And obviously, we're talking about curls, but you can relate that into squats, into bench press, into pull-ups, right? Your body, you actually micro damage your body. It recovers. It'd be like, okay, we don't want to be damaged again. We want to make sure that we're stronger next time. And so it gets stronger. Now, the flip side's also true, right? Muscle degeneration. Think about like you break a leg, you are in a cast, you're not using that leg for a while. When you take that cast off, your leg doesn't look exactly the same as it did before, besides the fact of like, the pennies and the ink pen that dropped into the cast and that you take off and you're like, oh, there it is.
Yeah. But it doesn't take long for those muscles to start to atrophy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And to degenerate. Yep. So it's a very much a use it or lose it system, right? And that's because our bodies don't have an infinite amount of energy. And I know that sounds like real like woo-woo, like energy, but like that's when you're working out, like energy is what you're using to walk, to breathe, to live. We don't have infinite amounts of that. And so as you're using things, that energy level decreases, just like a battery or a cell phone or whatever. Our body, again, this intelligence that's built into it says, oh, well, we're not using our right leg that's broken. It doesn't, your body's not like, well, we need to keep it strong because eventually, it says, oh, well, we're not using it. We're not putting energy there to keep it going, to keep it strong, to keep that muscle there. We're going to put it other places, which is super efficient, right? Super efficient. Our body is all about efficiency and making things as easy as possible for us. Like we just said, it grows muscle to make things easier for you. But if you don't use it, it's not going to keep that muscle there. You're going to lose it for that exact same reason, for efficiency. It's going to say, well, we need to make that energy and give it to other places to make that efficient.
Right. So just because you strength train for 10 years of your life, and then the next 5 years, even 2 years, you don't do any, are you going to see a difference? A decline, right? In muscle, which is frustrating in a way because you're like, wait a second, I did 10 years of strength training.
It's so funny to say it. So on some of our earlier podcasts, we've used the phrase pain pal. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure, like you've said this before too, I know that with me and like my pain pal, Frank, after a hard workout, we'll be like, oh man, at least we're good for the rest of the year now. Like we should be able to be good. Like that's how tired and worn out we feel. But obviously we say it joking because that's not the truth. Like it'll go away. Like you will lose whatever gains you have if you don't keep going.
Yeah. Super frustrating in the health world because I'm like, man, if I wanted to put on 10 pounds right now,
so easy.
I could do that in like a day and a half. Give me all the donuts, people.
And it would be a blast.
And you would love it. And then it would be instant regret. But like if I wanted to lose 10 pounds or be able to lift heavier, like it takes time. Mm-hmm. And then you have to continue to, and I'm like, man, this seems like get the short end of the stick on this, but
well, you think about it, it's kind of like in life, like most things, like that idea of the short-term pain, long-term gain, and the opposite of that's true. Like the short-term gain, I guess I would say, or like gaining weight or whatever, will have long-term pain where you're like, oh gosh, like I did gain the 10 pounds, right?
It was fun while it lasted, but yeah, there's going to be ramifications from that too 100%. That will last. So, okay, I guess it's worth it.
Yeah, so we kind of a little bit about strength training, what it is. Again, that was super simple overview. Like hopefully that made sense to why you have to keep going with it too. But one thing we'll talk about too is also like the benefits, because we just talked about it's hard. We're literally tearing our muscles. Side note here, sorry. Recovery is critical with strength training. I just said tear your muscles.
Right.
They're microscopic and they're not bad for you, but you're tearing your muscle. Recovery is huge, especially when it comes really to any working out, but strength training You got to give time to recover. That's why you're not going to see people doing quote unquote leg day 2 or 3 days in a row. Like you just can't handle it.
Right.
Your muscles can't handle it. You'll get hurt.
Because when you rest, that's when you're actually building back that muscle.
When you lift weights, you're actually tearing muscle.
Yeah. It's the rest that allows you to make it stronger.
That's it. Yeah, so rest is critical.
Super important. Yeah. Don't skip that part.
But anyway, we're saying how it's painful. It's not easy, right? It's that short-term pain we talked about. Well, is it even worth it, right? What are the benefits of strength training? You know, is it even worth our time to do this, right? So one of the things that muscle, believe it or not, muscle is an organ group, and it's literally called the organ of longevity. Like, that's how important muscle is, right? It's one of the most critical things that we have that we want to build into. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, so one of the questions to that would be like, well, why? Like, why is muscle so important, right? And the biggest thing is because it's relationship with glucose.
Glucose?
Yeah, right.
What's glucose?
Right. So not only that, but yeah, glucose, right, is like this, like, I don't want to say it's a buzzword because it's been, it's an important thing.
I was going to say, we need it.
Yes, 100%, right? Glucose is one of the things that our body looks for in regards to, we talked about energy, into burning energy. Your body wants to use that glucose. What happens is we are such a glucose-heavy society that we have so much in our bloodstream. So when you eat glucose, right, you get or eat sugar, or and especially simple carbohydrates break down into glucose, right, in the bloodstream. Can't have that in your bloodstream, right? And so your body, again, this intelligence says, like, we got to get rid of this. So your that's where insulin comes in, right? So insulin comes in and is basically kind of like, grabs the glucose by the wrist and is like, hey, we've got to go somewhere because we can't stay here. It reminds me of like Sports Center, where they're like, I don't care where you go, but you can't stay here, something like that.
Yeah, no idea.
Yeah, one of those things. You don't got to go home, but you can't stay here. Yeah, that's basically like insulin. Like, hey, like, I don't care where you go, but you just can't stay here. We got to get
You're
out
like
of
Sports
here.
Center, like closing time?
Yeah, well, so I think that's like...
okay.
They use the pop
That's the connect
all the time, so... I always think of Stuart Scott. He said that a lot.
Gotcha.
Anyhow, so where insulin tries to take glucose is, for one, the first place is muscle. Muscle is literally like a glucose sponge. You think about like these, storage containers that people can rent and things like that, right? Like, that's where insulin wants to put glucose, in all of those places, which is really great. It's like this reservoir to hold on to for when you do work out later. You'll have this reservoir of energy ready to go that's being stored in your muscle. If that muscle's not there, then it has to put it somewhere. And so what it does is it puts it in a fat cell. Now, that's actually something that's helpful for our bodies because it can't stay in the bloodstream. It's toxic.
Right.
That's where, when you have like these blood sugar spikes and things like that with like, type 2 diabetes, that can be really problematic. So they put it in a fat cell to say, hey, like, this is where it's got to go. Well, fat cells can grow wicked big, like crazy big. That's where we end up seeing, people getting large because of these fat cells, right? Anyhow, that's what ends up happening with glucose, right? Muscle is the place where you want it to go. Well, the more muscle you have, the more places for glucose to go.
Okay.
If all that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. So the smaller the muscles, the less capacity they have to store that glucose.
Right.
The bigger the muscles, the more capacity they have to store it, right?
And think about that. So you mentioned before, like, about eating, right? Like, the more muscle you have, I want to be careful in saying that isn't necessarily like...
Go eat all the sugar.
Yeah, but you will have more places for that to go. So, if you, like, I know we both do, right? Love Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Right. Not only does he seem like an amazing human being.
Right.
I love around Christmas when he does the Duanta Claus and he's like, just like randomly shows up at people's like houses or whatever with like all these gifts and gets things like...
Genuinely seems like a nice guy.
Yeah. Hilarious person, seems again. Great movies.
Yep.
But you'll see him eat these like, his
he posts his
meal. And it's, what is it typically like?
Oh, I've seen the man eat like 30 pancakes and covered in syrup and, or like, just ridiculous piles of food whether it's sugary food or not, like just ridiculous piles of food that you think, how in the world do you consume that?
Right.
And stay in the shape that you stay in.
And still stay shredded. Well, that's why. He has so much muscle. And then, again, he's not eating like that every day.
Right.
But he has so much muscle that glucose has all the places in the world to go.
Lots of places to store that glucose. Yeah.
Right. So it doesn't turn into fat cells. So anyhow, that's one of the benefits, right? Just one of the many benefits of strength training, right? Something else with strength training is that you actually, speaking of The Rock, right? You look at him and you're just like, dang, there's muscle everywhere, right? The guy is an absolute beast. There's also muscle you can't see that is just as important. This thing called like skeletal muscle, right? It's underneath, you can't see it. But skeletal muscle, it's going to help us prevent injury from slips, falls, sprains. It's going to give us strong joint health. A lot of times just people as they get older, unfortunately, will stop lifting weights because they feel like they're too brittle or braille to do that. That just ends up being a self-fulfilling prophecy. By not doing it, you're making yourself brittle and braille.
Frail.
Brittle and braille, frail.
I got you. I knew what you said, but you said it twice now. Okay.
Yes. Brittle and braille.
Brittle and braille.
Yeah. So strength training helps build that skeletal muscle. There's now mountains and mountains of data that show something as simple as just grip strength is tied directly to longevity. Right? So like,
that's interesting.
Yeah. So how long or how hard can you grip something, right? And you can buy, like we have some that we keep next to our couch, right? Of just these grip strength tools where you can like.
Think like stress balls and like the things where you squeeze as tight as you can and there's like a spring in the, I don't know what
Gripometer?
Sure.
I don't know.
That's what we're going to call it.
It's the gripometer.
The gripometer. Doesn't everyone have one of those?
Kind of looks like a wrench, but there's a lot of resistance on it, right?
Yeah.
And like that's technically strength training because you do have hand muscles, right?
Right.
And you can sit while you're watching your Netflix and just watching Ted Lasso season 4 and just work those hands. I mean, literally grip strength is tied directly to longevity, right? To work on that grip strength.
I know that's something I have to work on. If I had to like hold on to the side of a mountain or like I would fall and die quickly, I think. I don't think it would take for me. Like I know my grip strength is terrible. And I swear I blame decorating cookies. You think because I always had a piping bag in my hand and now like I have like this claw. Like you would think I would have all this strength, but it took all the strength to make the cookies. I know that seems really weird. But,
that makes sense.
But yeah, I'm like, I need to work on my grip strength.
Work on the grip strength there.
Yep.
And also, too, obviously, if it hasn't already been apparent, lifting weight strength training is a stress on your body. But again, go back and listen to other episodes we talked about. All stress is not bad. It's the chronic stress that's bad. This stress isn't bad. It's a good stress on your bones that tell your body to deposit more minerals into your bones to make them stronger. So when you are literally like picking weight up over your head or taking a kettlebell and like lifting it up like this, like you're putting strain on your actual bones, not just your body, not just your muscle, but on your bones. That signals, again, that intelligence in the body of like, oh, we're carrying a load right now. We want to make sure that we're able to do this. Again, it's a use it or lose it. If you're not carrying load, your body's going to say, I guess we don't need strong bones. Again, that's self-fulfilling prophecy. So make sure you're doing that. It increases your metabolic rate. So let's go back to The Rock, right? The guy, has his stack of pancakes and syrup and all this kind of stuff, right? He has all of that. Muscle increases your metabolic rate. What's metabolic rate? Metabolic rate is just how many calories it takes you, your body burns just by being alive.
Right.
Not by working out. Just breathing and walking and your heart pumping.
And when we're teenagers, that metabolic rate is like
super high,
through the roof, right?
It's like, especially like your 20s, it's the best it's ever going to be.
Right. You think, oh, I can eat McDonald's every day and sleep 45 hours a day and then I burn it off. And you're like, wait a second. And then as you get older.
It just naturally goes down with age. But again, strength training can reverse that, right? Muscle is very demanding when it comes to burning calories. So if you want to just naturally burn more calories just by being alive, just by sitting here and doing a podcast or at your desk typing an email, build more muscle because your body's going to burn more calories just by being alive. Again, The Rock has that giant stack of pancakes. He's eating it. Not only does he have tons of places to store that energy because he has so much muscle, but his metabolic rate is through the roof. And so just by him being alive, he's burning so many calories.
Right.
He probably has to consume a decent number of calories just to stay as strong as he is.
I know that we've talked about this before, and maybe you remember the actual statistics on it, but I remember talking about how there's studies that show when you do a strength training workout, how long your body continues to be in that mode of building muscle, burning calories, like all those things. Like usually you think, oh, I worked out for 30 minutes. Okay, the workout's done. My body is done working. When you're strength training, it continues even long after you're done with the workout. And like I said, I don't know if you remember the actual numbers of like how many hours or whatever, but like I remember it was like, oh, it's like something like 12 hours later, your body is still burning calories because of the 30 to 40 minute workout you did that morning.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. And so if you were just to look at the 30 minutes of that workout, if strength training wasn't, let's say it was just straight jogging, you'll burn more calories jogging in 30 minutes than you will lifting weights in 30 minutes. But after that 30 minutes of jogging, it's done. If you were to say, okay, well, how many calories were burned after 12 hours, it'll far supersede with the strength training. Mm-hmm. Yep, totally, right? It's
very cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. So there's also wicked amount of hormonal benefits as well. So cortisol regulation. Cortisol is not bad. It's the chronic high levels of cortisol that are bad. It helps regulate your cortisol, which is your stress hormone. Probably simply defined as your stress hormone. It raises your endorphins, which are feel-good hormones. It raises your dopamine, which is your reward hormone. It releases serotonin, which is a precursor to melatonin. So what does all that mean? Melatonin is one of the key hormones to sleep. You want to sleep good at night? Strength train. So all those things are like crazy, crazy helpful benefits of strength training.
I love it. So, okay, here's the thing. Ladies, I know we think strength training, a lot of us are like, man, I don't want to be big and bulky. I want to keep my feminine, features, and I don't want muscles up to my ears. Like, so is strength training really beneficial for me? Well, all the things we just talked about are beneficial no matter if you're a man or woman, right? But as I'm coming to a certain age and discovering, I know I've mentioned it before, like this whole stage of perimenopause and soon to follow menopause, strength training plays such a huge and important role for women going through that stage of life.
Critical.
So, like literally critical. We talked about like bone density. Bone density drops significantly faster due to estrogen levels dropping. So as you're starting to go through perimenopause and menopause, your estrogen is decreasing. That's what happens. It's a natural effect of menopause. Strength training actually helps that. We talked about that skeletal muscle, right? Like we want to build up that bone density so that doesn't happen. We want to counteract those estrogen levels dropping. Women in their 30s lose muscle at a rate of 3 to 8% a year. And menopause only amplifies this. So you think about, okay, even if we're saying 3% a year, if you're in your 30s, by the time you're 40, that's what? If I do easy math, if my math does the mathing and all the things, what's that, 30%?
30%.
So from 30 to 40, if you're not doing...
That's at the low end.
And that's the low end. Could be up to 80%. In a 10-year period, you could be losing 80% of your muscle.
Yep.
If you're not doing something to counteract it. So... let's do the strength training. Okay. This is something I am very aware of as someone who I've been working out. I've changed my nutrition. I'm doing all these healthy things. And then all of a sudden I'm starting to gain weight in areas that I've never gained before. Looking at you, Belly. It's really frustrating actually, because it's not, the more and more I read about this, it's not, as women, we think, oh, it's because we're lazy or I started slacking or no, I need to eat less and I need to exercise 50 hours a day. That's not the problem. You're still going to have that belly fat. So what you need to do is, we talked about the rock illustration, right? If you have more muscle, the glucose has a place to go. So instead of going to the belly, we build the muscles through the strength training so that it's not going to the belly, it's going to the muscles, right? So not that it's going to counteract all of it, but goodness, it's really going to help. Yep. There are women going through menopause who are strength training who aren't struggling with that belly fat as much. And the crazy thing is, you talk to a doctor. I went in for blood work, and I jokingly said, I'm like, yeah, fat is all of a sudden, showing up in places it never has before. And literally, not only the doctor, but the technician who did the blood work was like, oh yeah, and there's literally nothing we can do about it. Doesn't matter how much you work out, there's nothing you can do about it. And I was like, well, that's sad if that's truly what you're telling your patients, because
so
it is
disempowering.
Right, because you're like, okay, well then I guess I'm just going to be fat and happy because I can't do anything about it. That's not true. There are absolutely things we can do about it. And part of it is nutrition and things like that. There's changes we can make, but strength training is a huge, huge part of that. Not to mention, just strength training can help mitigate the various hormones. We just talked about hormones, right? Hormone fluctuations. If you're going through perimenopause or menopause, you know about the hormone fluctuations. It is crazy. Strength training actually helps with mood regulation, with anxiety, irritability, and even depression that often come with this stage of life. And so whether you're in that stage or about to come up at that stage, or you're in your 20s and you're like, menopause, I'm not even going to think about that. Menopause is coming for you, whether you like it or not. Right. And if you start, not even in your 20s, in your teens, of thinking about these things and building strength and all this, it'll be so much. I can't say going through menopause is going to be a breeze, but it will be significantly less taxing on your body. And it will be something that at the other side of it, you're stronger. Like, that's what it should be. And in our society now, that's not preached. And it's really sad because, like you said, it's not empowering women to go through this stage with any kind of head held high. I'm like, what am I trying to say? Kind of motivate, you can go through it and come through stronger on the other side. Yeah. There's just things we need to know. This is one of the things as women we need to know.
Yeah, I love that what you said. It's like, it's a transition that's coming. Yeah. And so let's prepare for it. Let's be ready for it as much as we can. Like, how many times have we talked and with both of our health, be like, man, I wish we knew what we know now 10, 20 years ago, right? This is one of those things. So, like, just from talking with you, where I know your mission, one of the things that you're like, I want not just our daughters to know, which are already like in their 20s, but for younger teenage girls to know, hey, there are things you can do to make that, which I know sounds crazy, teenager to start thinking about that, but to be like, but a lot of them are just these natural, regular things that we deal with, that we talk about on a regular basis anyway.
And just side note, the more and more I read and learn, like, we always think about, hormones as a woman, problem, like something that women deal with through menopause. Guys, just so you know, your hormones are changing too around that same time period. Like, where it's menopause for women, a lot of times for men, we call it a midlife crisis. Where all of a sudden, like, we go out and buy the super expensive fancy car because we feel this need to, to feel seen, or, there's just different midlife crisis things that guys go through. Well, that's due to hormones. Yep. Your hormones are changing. All of a sudden, you're like, man, I don't want the same things that I wanted before. I want new things, and I want a new career or a new, whatever. Hormones.
Imagine if you have two married people going through that at the same time.
Gosh, yeah.
I mean, it's a whole different podcast, right? Yeah. But there's things we can do to get ready for that now. Strength training on both sides of it is huge, right? So, so strength training. How do we strength train, right? I think people kind of get the idea that there's not one way to do it, right? But before we talk about specifically modalities of doing it, right, 4 keys to strength training. One of them is progressive overload. So I talked about before, like, if you just were using gravity to do the curls, you probably aren't going to get bigger muscles. That's because progressive overload is like, hey, as you're lifting weights and it gets easier, you progressively overload, add a little bit more, right? So if you're curling a 20-pound dumbbell and you do 3 sets of 10 reps, and then at the end of the 3rd set, you're like, I think I could do 2 or 3 more of those. Then next time, do 25 pounds. So that way, at the end of that 3rd set, you're struggling with number 9, and maybe you even say, like, number 10, you break form. Then that's progressive overload. Eventually, That 25 will feel, you'll get to the third set of 10. Got it. That's great. I got 2 or 3 more. Then go to 30. That's progressive overload.
That's that muscle that's been torn down, rebuilt stronger,
Yep.
allowing you to be able to go up in weight.
That's it.
And you want to be able to keep going up in weight because it's going to keep building it back stronger.
That's super compensation. So,
Love it.
so progressive overload. Then occasionally training to failure. I know it sounds bad, right? Failure. Oh my gosh, we want to train to failure. Depending on the workout you're doing, if you're training to failure, you want to have a partner with you. Talk about that in a minute. But yeah, to where you train all the way up to where you're like, I can't do this one more. A lot of times that ends up being drop sets where you go as hard as you can with something until you can't do it anymore. Then you take the weight off and go a little bit light, and then go again until you can't do it anymore. Then take the weight off. Before you know it, like you look silly. Like you end up being on the bench under a bar with no weight on it. But if you have an Olympic bar, it's a 45-pound bar, and like you're struggling to get this bar with no weight up. It's funny to see really strong guys, The Rock. I'm thinking about Ross Edgley because he'll post that stuff of himself. Like these really strong guys that you're like, you just look at them, you're like, why are you struggling with just the bar? Well, because there's training to failure, right? That's really going to tax the muscles hardcore. You want a lot of rest after that, but that super compensation will kick in big time there. You don't got to do it every time you work out, but once in a while.
Absolutely. Like you think about, sometimes it almost feels too light at the beginning where you start and you're like, oh man, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, like this is, am I really going to be able to fail on this? If by 6 or 7, I said it, like 6 or 7, you should start to feel a struggle. Like that's usually, I don't know why it is. It's between those two numbers where all of a sudden it flips and I'm like, oh, wait, this is the right weight because it's getting hard. And then by 8, like you said, like in that, hopefully you can make it to 10. But it is like the first couple will feel easy, and it's that repetition and doing it until, I can't do this anymore. Yeah.
Super, super healthy, super good to do that. Like anything, I would say find a friend. You will be able to work out longer, not only in time in the workout, but from a consistency and from an actually duration of years of working out. If you have a friend you're doing it with, you can push each other, you can encourage each other. Find a friend. It'll be way better. You'll be able to laugh at the workout farts, things like that. Like find a friend. It's going to be way better. And the biggest key to strength training is what I just mentioned is consistency. It's not the one hard workout you did and then you wait 2 weeks to do another hard one. Oh, I really blew out my chest yesterday, and worked out so hard, and then you wait 2 weeks before you do it again. That's not going to get you the gains. It's the slow, steady consistency of working out that's going to get you the gains.
Yeah, I do think that's an important factor there, because there have been times that both of us have done it before where we've pushed too hard to the fact that like the next day or even the day after you get those DONS, right? The delayed onset muscle soreness, where it's like, oh, I pushed it too hard and now stairs are my enemy. Because your legs are spent, your arms are spent. You can't lift something like, okay, that was too much weight.
Yeah.
And so for next time. So you want to be able to remain consistent, not go so big that you have to go home because you can't show up the next day.
That's it. Yeah, we've been there before. So
absolutely.
So with consistency, make it fun and sustainable. One of the key ways to do that is variety. So actually, Harvard researchers analyzed 30 years of data from over 100,000 Americans. Huge data set. And here's what they found. The benefits and gains of a single activity plateaued after being performed around 5 hours per week. But individuals who were involved in multiple modalities saw the biggest gains as compared to single modality training. Okay, what does that mean?
Explain that like I'm a 5-year-old.
Yep, so what does that mean? So lifting weights is one modality for strength training. What this is saying is that people who only lifted weights around 5 hours per week, after that time, 5 to 10 hours per week, the gains plateaued. So it's like, okay, you were gaining, and it plateaued. Versus people who did various things, lifted weights, also walked, played sports, did other ways of strength training, not just going to the gym, that their gains were way more as compared to those who only did one modality. And so,
interesting.
so variety. Variety is the key here. If you forgot everything, variety. The people who had multiple modalities, 19% lower all-cause mortality. What does that mean? From any reason you can die, they had a 19% lower risk to that as those who only did a single modality strength training. They also had multiple modalities or multiple ways of working out, up to a 41% fewer deaths from cardiovascular disease, respiratory disease, and cancer. That's
crazy.
Huge. Up to 41%. So I'm not saying that just strength training is bad or just anything is bad. I'm saying that do variety. Variety is what's going to be key there. It's truly is like the spice of life, right? So with that, this will not be an exhaustive list, but what are all the different ways that we can strength train?
Right. So, I mean, the obvious one, you can go to a gym and lift weights. That's not bad. Please don't hear us saying that, going to the gym and lifting heavy crap is bad.
Not bad at all.
It's fantastic. We know lots of people who do that on a regular basis.
I do.
And
We
they
do
love
it on
it.
a regular
Right.
basis.
Yes. We don't go to we go to the gym, but the gym is in our basement. So,
Yes.
but if you don't have a gym in your basement, and that's a great thing. Find a gym that is within your price range, your budget, all these things. Take a friend. It's an amazing opportunity to do strength training. Like I just said, we have one in our basement. We said we started with 5-pound and 8-pound weights. We did not build our gym in a week. We built it over years and years, and we found things that were within our budget. Right?
Yard sales, Facebook Marketplace,
yep, yard sales,
giveaways.
Facebook, right? Yeah, literally
garbage
won
picking.
some things. Yeah, we have built it by finding inexpensive, good equipment, but inexpensive things that we actually have a really nice space now to be able to work a lot of muscle groups.
Yeah, we just did an Instagram post about our gym in the basement, so we'll take a look at that. But slowly building it as cheap as possible because we're not rich and famous. So
Yet. Just kidding.
right, yeah. Other ways to strength train, there are HIIT, H-I-I-T, and HIRT, H-I-R-T workouts, right? HIIT stands for high intensity interval training. HIRT stands for high intensity resistance training. We put together a YouTube workout, so go check us out on our YouTube channel, right? The Rudimentary Life on YouTube. We have a workout there that's great for all levels. If you've never worked out before, if you're the 330-pound pre-workout or pre-health transformation person, you can do this. There's modified versions. If you've been working out for forever, you can still do it because you'll be able to do it longer, faster, better, things like that. So go check it out. Let us know what you think on that.
Absolutely. How about Pilates and yoga?
Yep.
Do you typically think of those when you hear strength training?
Not at all.
Probably not. Also, Pilates and yoga, not just for ladies, guys.
Nope.
Just so you know, you think that and you hear those and you're probably like, oh, that's really easy. It's just breathing, right? Okay,
Nope.
Then clearly you've never done it.
Right.
It's hard. It's freaking hard.
Yeah.
We've done it before.
I sweat buckets doing it.
Yeah, I was going to say, usually Eric actually is sweating more than I am by the end of those. You think Pilates, tons of resistance in that.
Talk about targeting a muscle.
That's just it. You're targeting certain muscle groups for the entire time, to a point where if you've done Pilates, you know exactly what I mean when I say this, but you start thinking, if I have to stir the pot with my leg one more time, it might fall off.
Yeah.
Look up Pilates and stir the pot. You should find some interesting videos. It literally painful in a good way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's not weights.
Right.
You're not actually
Right.
using weights in Pilates. Yoga, again, start basic, because some of the poses you look at the instructors and you're like, that's impossible. You are a pretzel. I don't this is not happening. But there are basic poses. My favorite is corpse pose.
Which is exactly what it sounds like.
It's how I end every single
Lay
workout.
down like a dead person.
You just lay down on the ground. It's amazing. So start there and build your way up to, the tree stand, blah, blah, blah. I don't know all the things, but downward dog is great. Love
Downward
that one.
dog, yeah.
Stretch out. So
Warrior pose.
Warrior pose, all the things. It's good stuff though. Guys, try it out. I promise.
There's also super simple things. Walking. Walking is a great way of strength training. Again, to go back to that Harvard study, you can't walk all the time and say that and have that be your single way of doing strength training. it is a great way to do it. You can also add some weight, whether it be a backpack where you're putting in dumbbells, or whether you get, like I use a ruck vest, right? You put it on, strap it on, just go for a walk, right? The added weight's great. Go up a hill, find a steep hill and walk up that hill. I promise you, added weight or not, you will run out of breath.
I walked home from work the other day and I had my backpack with my laptop and everything in it. And we go for walks all the time. I literally could feel the difference between carrying, it wasn't even like I had a ton of weight, but like that extra weight, by the time I got home, I was like, oh, I'm tired. Like I'm sore. So yeah, that little bit of extra weight just adds that resistance that then turns it, into even more of a strength training exercise.
Yeah. Play sports on a regular basis. Like,
love it.
Whatever sport's your favorite, golf, basketball, pickleball's picking up speed, huge here, right? Spike ball. This is one of our family's favorites. It's not necessarily new. Take a look at spike ball. That gets your mind involved too, because you really got to pay attention.
Oh, yeah.
Good reflexes. Spike ball, volleyball, whatever your sport is, just make it fun. Try new things. Mix it up. That is the best way to strength train.
Right. It doesn't have to be super complicated.
Should not be.
Like when you want to say, okay, well, what is the best form of strength training? Well, what's the one you'll continue doing?
That's it.
What's the one you enjoy doing that you'll say, okay, yeah, I'll do this. Do that one. Spend your time doing that, because it's more important to get it done than to, try and think of, well, what is the best way for me to burn the most amount of blah, blah, blah.
How many reps and what should my split set be and whatever. Not those are bad things.
Right.
But just don't overcomplicate it. Go have fun.
Right.
Go have fun strength training. You'll stick to it. You will see the gains, and variety is the key. So yes, go to the gym, lift heavy crap, pick up heavy things and put them down, but also play sports, go for a walk, have fun, all those things, right? So find a friend and just start building, right? Start doing that. We'll post a link to our YouTube workout in the show notes. Take a look at that. Let us know what you think. It's a great way to, whether you want an easy way to enter into kind of that hurt workout, strength training or whatever, but that would be great. So.
Absolutely. So we have reached a time in the episode where we want to share our rudimentary ritual. So Eric, what is our rudimentary ritual for this week?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple, but one of the things that I know that we stick to, I try to stick to very regimentedly or ritually, is at least 5 days a week, 5 days a week of being active. Doing something, whether that be playing sports with my family, whether that be the other day we were doing yard work, of at least 30 minutes of activity every day for 5 days a week. That is literally what I try to do. I find that I feel good about it. I don't feel lazy. I also get some rest days in there. So
I was going to say, why 5 and not 7, right? Because we need rest.
Yep.
You need to rest and rebuild that muscle.
Our second thing, I feel like, mail time, right? It's part of our show. Recipe time. Yes. Recipe. What recipe do we want to have today? You actually teased it earlier.
I did. I don't know if you caught it or not. So long before we knew we were going to do this episode on strength training, we lovingly named this recipe the Get Yoked Burger. If you think about it hard enough, you probably realize it's because we put an egg on it. Mm-hmm. I know this isn't too crazy. People, there's restaurants that do it, but I don't even know how this got started, but we concocted our own breakfast burger that we usually have for dinner. We're not eating them for breakfast. Right. You 100% could. But it is, I feel like I say this all the time, but it is one of our favorite recipes. Everyone in our family loves it.
It gets the yolk just
oh my goodness. Make sure
down your beard.
Make sure you have napkins, because it is a sloppy hot mess, but it is the most delicious sloppy hot mess. We've got, our burgers that have a mixture of beef and pork, breakfast sausage and caramelized onions and cheese and runny drippy egg, and we even have a maple aioli. And if you feel so inclined to live on the edge, you can make your own homemade maple buns to put it on. Mm-hmm. Delicious. It's worth the extra effort, and it's still relatively quick and easy to do. So
it's get yoked. It's the double entendre. Get yoked. Yeah. Because of getting yoked, like building muscle. It's a high protein burger.
And literally getting
the
yoked.
Egg yolk down
all
your
over
face.
Your face.
Yeah.
So worth it. It's a goodie.
Yeah. So, well, hey, so that's our episode today. Thank you so much for spending time with us. We hope you enjoyed the episode. We hope that you found something valuable that you can use to implement in your life, your family's life, that you find helpful.
100%. And if so, let us know. We love hearing about it. Share it out on social media, take a screenshot of what episode you're listening to, tag us, leave a comment on Spotify or YouTube or however you listen, leave a rating on Apple Podcasts. If you try the Get Yolk Burger, we want your pictures with the yolk dripping down your face, and please tag us on all the places.
Yes, we will repost them to our stories.
We 100% will.
Yes.
So
that recipe will be on our website, by the way.
Yes, it will be. So try it out. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, big thing. We got a lot of listening hours on our podcast, which we appreciate and we love. Hit follow or subscribe, whatever it is. Reason being, why do we want to do that? Well, for one, it helps us get our message out. The more subscribers we have, the more these platforms will be like, oh, we need to get this message out to other people. But also, too, it's free. And you'll be the first to know about contests, giveaways, and whatever else we got going on. You're not going to want to miss out. So,
yeah, we have so many more things coming, more guests that are in the docket. We're so excited about that. So make sure you're staying tuned to TRL Radio.
Yeah, thanks so much for listening, guys. Make it a great day, and we'll talk to you next time. If you want more of Eric and Michelle Hall and TRL Radio in your life, and honestly, who doesn't, head over to theRudimentaryLife.com.
There, you'll be able to find all the things, show notes, videos, step-by-step instructions for each recipe, more ways to connect with us and join in with whatever shenanigans we're getting into.
Yeah, and for extra credit, leave us a rating on your favorite listening app. We definitely appreciate all the love.
Thanks for listening.
And we'll see you next time.